I worked on a project one time to investigate, to look at the data, to say how long are these, the projects from you had the scope to actually to you launch the product, and define each phase and ask all the questions to say, why was it delayed, right? Comparing to this was the plan, what actually then happened. And in the beginning, when I talked to the product owners, they were like, as you just said, right? They didn't want to tell too much because nobody matched the plan that you put out that first time and saying, oh yeah, it will take 4 months. And then we have this new product. Something always got delayed. And some of the observations was to say the scope changed so many times. So definitely right there was something there to say, okay, let's be better, right? Let's improve that, or let's look into saying what's actually going on. But what I experienced was in the beginning, the trust, right? Why is she asking all these questions, right? Is it bad or is it good? So from your side, and been working with a lot of companies, how do you establish that trust when you go in and ask all these questions?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? Because as you said, right, people really don't want to disclose things, right? Because it could, let's say I'm a project manager, and obviously I want to have a good track record, right? And I want to probably grow in my company. I want to climb the corporate ladder there, and become whatever title it is, right? Etc. But I want to grow, right? So I want to have a clean record, and I want to have just like the whole success showing up. So, when people ask me, for example, oh, how did you, I delivered some projects that were successful, and then people ask me, how did you do this, and etc. Right? And then we run even some sessions where you can present your success story and all this kind of stuff, right? Which is obviously everybody wants this because then you're in the spotlight, and then that's me, right? I did that, of course, right? Just like I said, right? It's like my son who comes home with a good school, right? He does all that, and then why not just doing the opposite? Right? You had a miserable project. It was just like a disaster, right? So just go there and present your stuff, right? What happened, right? The thing is, it always gets associated with, failures get always associated with people directly, right? So when a project fails, then the first thing that happens is that the project manager, who is the one in charge, he gets invited to some meetings with some senior stakeholders, and then you feel like you're on trial, and you have to justify yourself. Now, what have you done, right? And which is nonsense, right? Because most of the time, it's not even a people problem; it's a process problem, right? And there's a lot of bottlenecks in organizations which possibly lead then to failures, right? Or administrative barriers, all kinds of things, right? Or the project management framework, right? Nobody looks at it because just people are focused on people. And that's kind of which obviously is a problem for this kind of for people actually to open up and speak about their failures, right? And that's actually needed, to come back to your question. That's actually what would be needed to build trust, right? That you step up there and say, this project failed, and I was the project manager, for example, right? And then I explain you why that is, and then I give you all the details around this and what we should what we should do better in the future. In project management, you usually call it lessons learned, but you want to get over this as quick as possible, because nobody wants to talk about failures. So from a leadership point of view, we call that authentic leadership, right? Where people actually not show up. Leaders not show up as a perfect leaders who just have a very clean and perfect track record of success. But they actually show up and say, actually, I'm wrong. I did a mistake here, and basically open up about their imperfections, kind of, right? And then this will actually lead to build more trust from subordinates, right? And other peers, right? It's obviously easier said than done.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mind Innovation Podcast. New episodes are dropping bi-weekly, so make sure you're following wherever you get your podcast. You can find me on LinkedIn, search for Sanna Winding. You can also find me on YouTube, search for Mind Innovation, or go to my website, sannawinding.com or mindinnovation.com. Stay curious, keep learning.